At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the San Francisco Giants. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Aetna Medicare Solutions. Medicare that takes a total approach to health and wellness. By Citi, proud partner of the New York Mets. By Honda, great deals are waiting at your Honda dealer. And by Geico, the #1 insurer in the New York market. Beautiful afternoon at Citi Field. The Old Apple welcomes you, and number 48 will be on the mound today. 2018 truly has been the season of DeGrom. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Ron Darling with you. Keith Hernandez joins us in just a moment as the Mets and Giants wrap up their 4-game series. Today we get one of those pitching matchups that you wait for all season. Jacob DeGrom, who's trying for a Cy Young Award this year, against Madison Bumgarner, who's probably been more successful on the Citi Field mound than anybody who's taken the mound here since the place opened. Let's start with DeGrom. 22 straight starts, 3 runs or less. He's just gotten better and better as the year's gone along.
Well, he really has, and every fifth day has been must-see TV to watch this young man at the top of his craft. In his last start against the Philadelphia Phillies, he had everything working. His backdoor slider, that fastball up, changeup, and to be able to pitch a complete game, something you very rarely see anymore. His third in his career. It was just a pleasure to even watch that game.
How has he evolved as the year's gone along?
You know what? What's interesting to me is that as he's gotten better, he is putting less and less effort into his pitches. So mechanically, he's at a place right now where he is so comfortable with releasing the ball that there's no effort in it, and that's why he's been going deeper in games.
His mound opponent today is Madison Bumgarner. He's had 2 injury-scarred seasons now in a row, but this is one of the best big-game pitchers in the history of the game.
The history of the game, probably had the best pitching performance anyone's ever had in the postseason. But when you look at Madison Bumgarner, only 31 starts the last couple of years because of some accidents and injuries, but still he's the John Wayne of this sport. When he takes a mound, he has a presence, he commands respect, and he's one of those rare pitchers that is probably the face of his franchise.
He's thrown 27 straight scoreless innings at Citi Field. Complete game shutout in the wild card game 2 years ago. That's DeGrom's opponent today as the Mets and Giants wrap up their series. All the action on SNY. The Shake Shack pack for just $25 per ticket is an amazing way to enjoy a Mets game at Citi Field. Your Shake Shack pack includes a Mets game ticket, a single Shack burger, and a shake. Tickets are available subject to availability. Purchase your Shake Shack pack today at Mets.com/Shake Shack pack. Here's a look at the Ford leaderboard. First, it's the T-Mobile built for baseball. Last night, Cardinals did it again. Ninth inning home run by Paul DeYoung. Two-run shot off Kenley Jansen, who's now given up game-winning home runs in the ninth inning in each of his last two appearances. And the Cardinals are now 17-4 in the month of August, just 2.5 back of the Cubs in the Central, and they have the top wild card record in the National League as well. The Dodgers continue to fade, now 4.5 out in the West, 3.5 out in the wild card. Now the Ford leaderboard, and all three of the top competitors in ERA in the National League are in action this afternoon. Scherzer and Nola going head-to-head in Washington. That game is just underway. DeGrom pitching here at Citi Field against Madison Bumgarner and the Giants. Mets looking to take 3 of 4 from San Francisco as DeGrom gets ready for his start. Jake's first pitch is coming right up. Been a phenomenon from the day he arrived in the big leagues 4 years ago, but he is now at the peak of his skills and putting together one of the best years in memory. Here's the Giants lineup that he will face this afternoon, including the two-time Silver Slugger Award winner Madison Bumgarner, who's hit 3 home runs each of the last 4 years, none so far this year. Andrew McCutchen leads it off after getting the night off last night. DeGrom's first pitch fastball is in for a strike, and we're underway. McCutchen 1 for 8 in the series. Panic in Longoria to follow on a gorgeous Thursday afternoon. Temperature in the mid-70s. And the slider on the corner from DeGrom has McCutchen in a quick 0-2 hole. Coming off a complete game performance his last time out. McCutchen flies one foul down the right side now to play. 0-2.
I mean, the numbers are just crazy. Land Rover numbers for DeGrom this year. We talk about the ERA all the time. Look at the hits to innings pitched, strikeouts to innings pitched. Whip.
The only thing missing is the wins. He's getting up there.
Struck him out. High fastball gets McCutcheon for the first out, and that previous voice you heard was that of Keith Hernandez, who is dressed and in the lineup today.
Of course I am.
Your leadoff. I'm in the second hole because I couldn't hit.
I always
push it around.
I always prefer day games.
Third place hitter.
You do bat third.
But Davey let me take a nap like he did every Sunday when I was out late on Saturday night.
That's all right. So was he. Here's Joe Paddock with one out, and he takes the pitch high for ball one.
So I skipped BP.
Oh.
All I know is that nobody arrived later for Sunday day games than Davey Johnson.
That's right.
That's true.
Paddock 2 for 10 in the series, and he takes a knee-high curveball for a strike, and it's 1-1.
Must have drove you nuts because I know you in the lineup and all that.
Well, it drove Howie even more nuts because he had to do the pregame interview with Davey every day, and sometimes Davey wouldn't be there before the pregame show began. 1-2 to Paddock. Well, DeGrom's allowed only one run in his last 21 starts in the first inning. He has been ready to go from the first pitch. And it's the daytime, and he owns the daytime. Paddock takes it high 2-2. In fact, Jacob DeGrom over the course of his career has the best daytime ERA in the recorded history of earned run average. 1.89 for his career in the daytime.
Donovan didn't know he was writing that song about DeGrom, did he?
I mean, this goes back to an era where every game was played in the daytime. Look at that. This year, even better. 1.32 under the sunshine. Paddock lines one to short, just past the glove of Rosario. And Joe Paddock's aboard with a one-out single.
Well, all of a sudden, Paddock has kind of caught fire a little bit. He had a good game last night. Gets a hanging, wanted a backdoor slider, got it up in the strike zone.
So the Paddock attack puts a runner aboard for the Giants with one out.
And there's your Ron. You want to do the defense too?
Yeah, sure.
The Lexus starting infield. We'll do McNeil, who's on a tear. He's going to play every day. You know that. He's been wearing it out.
Here's Evan Longoria having a good series, and he takes low and away ball one.
And here's your starting outfield, and that's been the big trio right there. Conforto, as Gary mentioned, with the left-hander down in the 8th position in the order. Much more comfortable in left field.
Jay Bruce will be activated tomorrow. We'll play some right field, play some first base. We'll see how that goes. Evan Longoria takes a slider for a strike, and it's 1-1. Longoria a double and a home run in this series, 4 for 13. Breaking out of a slump. It's been a rough year for Longoria in his first year in the National League. Suffered a broken hand, missed a month because of that. And a nasty breaking ball as DeGrom ahead of the count 1-2.
And I think it should be noted as he takes a walk down this path to try to win the Cy Young Award. He's doing it with Devin Mesoraco as his catcher.
What, around 7 more starts, maybe?
Yeah.
And run a string together like Wheeler.
Up and into Longoria 2-2.
I mean, it's.
Well, the change recently for Jake has been that he's actually gotten some wins. He's won his last 3. Mets scored 8 runs in back-to-back starts for him, and then 3 in his last outing. But he's done his part too. 2-2 to Longoria, and he buries one in the dirt, 3-2. His ERA in those last 3 starts when they've been scoring for him, 0.83.
Yeah.
So he hasn't won any of those, 9-7 decisions this year.
Well, I think the 800-pound gorilla in the room is off the offense's back now. I think that they're beyond that. The question is, can they score runs here at home where they've struggled?
Against Bumgarner.
3-2 to Longoria. Paddock not running, and that's outside ball 4. And DeGrom finds himself in some first inning trouble. Back-to-back full counts, a single and a walk, and 2 men are on. Well, all 3 guys are going today. Scherzer and Nola in Washington, DeGrom here, and you choose. The ERA, clearly DeGrom. Strikeouts, Scherzer. Batting average against, Scherzer. Winning percentage, if you like that, Nola.
It looks like Scherzer's probably going to win 20. If he wins 20, that's going to be, a big credential right there. DeGrom's got to get the 14 wins.
Here's Brandon Bell, 2 for 10 in this series. And he skies one out to right. Bautista coming toward the line. Long way to go, and it goes in the crowd. The wind really grabbed that ball. The wind is blowing in from left field, and it took that ball, which was in fair territory when it first went up, and blew it all the way into foul.
Well, this is certainly a different looking Giant ball club here. Boy, oh boy. There you go. There's the true test scare, way up high there. It is blowing.
Belt's an interesting hitter to watch. He kind of has topspin when he hits the ball, and he really hooks it.
He's been struggling since coming back from a knee injury that landed him on the DL. Just 5 for 28 since returning. But he's got a first inning opportunity against DeGrom. 2 on and 1 out. And he takes the fastball just out of the strike zone, 1-2.
DeGrom wanted that pitch up and got it down. You saw the frustration, Ronnie.
Yeah. I mean, he has. The last game, he didn't miss a spot. He's missed a couple here in the first.
One-two coming to Belt, and it's lifted to left. Conforto shading his eyes against the sun, and puts it away for the second out.
That's right. We're getting close to September, and sun becomes a factor here. As
interestingly, the sun is rarely an issue in left field in this ballpark because the sun sets behind third base. But for some reason, that ball got up in the glare for Conforto, and he had to shade himself.
Not a lot of clouds, and it seems unusually bright today on the field.
So 2 on and 2 out now. Austin Slater, who has swung the bat very well in this series, a double and a home run. Home run was his first of the year. That came last night. Slater still technically a rookie. Hit 3 home runs last year, and took him 113 at bats to hit his first home run this season. But he's probably been the most impressive hitter in the Giants lineup in this series. He's played some first base, playing left field today. Panic at second, Longoria at first with 2 down, and DeGrom a little bit out of sorts in this first inning.
He's out of sorts, and he and Mesoraco are having some issues getting to the pitch he wants. Show me a good pitcher, I'll show you a guy that pitches well with the runners in scoring position.
Which he certainly has. Gets ahead on Slater 0-2. This is Slater last night against Drew Smith. And he crashed that one.
Sure did. That was a ball down in the strike zone. We see so much today, so many hitters. Looks like DeGrom's a little struggling for it, Ronnie.
Yeah, he's hung some sliders in this first inning.
0-2 to Slater. And foul back the fastball.
Now that fastball was supposed to be letters high and ended up belt high. So just a little off with his control. I mean, you just expect perfection from this young man because he's been close to that all season long.
We get spoiled.
Yep, you do.
Right-hand hitters for the entire season hitting 173 against DeGrom. And Slater down on strikes, got him with the changeup to retire the side. DeGrom works out of first inning trouble with a couple of strikeouts. Mets come to bat against Madison Bumgarner when we come back. Yesterday, you see the two left-hand hitters drop toward the bottom of the order. McNeil hitting 6th, and Conforto, for just the 6th time in his career, batting 8th in the order against the talented left-hander Madison Bumgarner.
I was saying before, as you see the Toyota numbers this year, both seasons have been interrupted. Last year with the accident, this year with injuries. He's only made 31 starts, 8-14 his last 2 years, but no one pitches better in this ballpark. 27 straight scoreless innings if you add the wild card game in 2016.
Yeah, his 5 starts here, including that wild card game, he's 5-0 with an 0.47 ERA, just untouchable on the Citi Field mound. Ahmed Rosario leads off, and he hits the first pitch in the air to left field, playable for Slater, and he puts it away for the first out. So Rosario looking to jump that first pitch from Bumgarner, flies out.
And the Giant defense, the Gold Glovers, we've noticed the whole series here, 3 on the infield. Where do you see that in any team in the National League or American League for that matter? And then you add 1 out there in the outfield, and Wright and McCutchen.
No Buster Posey today for the Giants. Nick Hundley is catching Bumgarner. A lot of talk about Posey and possibility that he may be done for the year and facing hip surgery. Austin Jackson takes a fastball for a strike. Jackson, who began his year with the Giants, 2 for 14 in this series against his former team, hitting .341 though in his 25 games as a Met. Bumgarner with that distinctive long arm action.
It's almost like he's getting ready to throw the javelin. I mean, his shoulders get so square. He turns his back to the hitter so he can see that number 40, and has like this tremendous almost wingspan before he delivers the pitch.
Didn't spend a day on the disabled list the first 8 years of his big league career. Last year in April, a trail bike accident cost him 3 months. This year, a line drive off his pitching hand cost him 2 months. And he had been pitching really well until his last start. He had a rough one against the Reds last Saturday, gave up 6 runs in 6 innings. But his previous 4 starts, 1.73 ERA, so he was just getting in his familiar groove when that last one came up and bit him. Two coming, and he strikes out Jackson. 2 out and nobody on.
You'll see a lot of fastballs in, a lot of cutters in. That ball really middle of the plate, but Jackson missed it, and that's the grip. See how far on the side of the ball he is. And that wasn't his good one, but it was good enough.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Wilmer Flores, who loves to hit against the Giants. 5 for 9 in this series, 361 lifetime, but 1 for 11 against Bumgarner.
91 miles per hour on that fastball. And even before Bumgarner got hurt, he had a start home and away, and I think it was a couple of years ago, that I felt that he had lost a little bit of his velocity. The 91 is significant now. Granted, he's missed a lot of time, but he's a guy that used to really rush it up there, and it was that World Series, it was in full display against Kansas City.
Wilmer hits a weak fly ball to center, and Duggar is there to grab it, and Bumgarner off to a fast start. He retires the Mets 1-2-3 on 9 pitches. After 1, DeGrom and Bumgarner, no score. Second inning, Brandon Crawford leads off for the Giants in a scoreless game and takes a first pitch curveball for a strike from DeGrom. Crawford 1 for 9 in this series, just 1 for his last 23, and he looked completely out of sorts last night. Made a couple of errors.
Yeah. First
time that had happened to him in a couple of years, making multiple errors in a game. 3-time Gold Glover. It'll be Crawford, then Nick Hundley, and Madison Bumgarner, 6, 7, and 8 in the order against DeGrom, who had to work through a single and a walk in the first inning, a 24-pitch first inning. Changeup fouled off 1 and 2, and he's thrown a lot of changeups early in this game.
Yes.
Well, he had the 12 strikeout performance against the Yankees, followed it up with his first complete game of the season through 108 pitches in the win over the Phillies last Saturday. 3 runs or fewer in 22 straight starts. That is 2 shy of the Mets club record set by Doc Gooden in 1985. He also has 17 straight quality starts. That is also 2 shy of a Mets club record set by Tom Seaver, 19 straight quality starts in 1973. 1-2 coming. Off the fists, a little dunker into shallow center that'll fall for a base hit. So Crawford flaring one into center, and the Giants have their second hit off DeGrom.
When you watch DeGrom from above, just try to concentrate on his stride. He's a tall man anyways, but has as long a stride as anyone in the game. And when you look at it from the side, watch his arm when he releases the ball. The ball is in front of his head when he lets it go. So when I ask hitters all the time what makes DeGrom tough, they say he has the easy motion and the ball just jumps on you. Maybe because he throws it, lets it go closer to the plate than anyone else.
So between the length of the stride and how far in front of his head the ball is, it's coming from maybe 55 feet instead of 60.
Exactly.
So that increases what we call the perceived velocity of his pitches. Nick Hundley starting for the second time in this series, 0 for 4. Hundley, the 34-year-old backup to Buster Posey. This is an old Giants team. I mean, they just run out 30-plus guy after 30-plus guy, starters and reserves. And they're going to have to figure out how to get younger in a hurry.
And this is from the side. You can see the leg kick has gotten less and less as he's gotten longer into his career. More experience. Less strain on your body. Boy, that's 2 change-ups in a row to Nick Hundley after getting ahead. It's unusual selection of pitches against a backup catcher. Tells me he doesn't like his fastball today so far.
Should be a double play. Frazier, though, bobbles it out at second. McNeil turns it over, and they turn 2. Despite the rough time that Frazier had getting control of it, the Mets are still able to turn the 5-4-3 double play.
Well, Frazier here, the ball came up and rolled up the heel of his glove. He can't find the handle. High throw, and we've talked about McNeil working on the double play, and there's a big example right there. Not a very difficult throw. That ball rolled right up his chest.
Look, he didn't roll into his uniform.
Really nice turn by young McNeil there. Very nice.
And that wasn't a routine one because he had to reach up for that throw. So 2 out and nobody on now. Bumgarner, who's always a threat, 17 career home runs. He had 3 or more for 4 straight seasons. The first major league pitcher to do that since Earl Wilson back in the 60s with the Tigers.
Earl Wilson could hit. Wow.
Good. Wilson had 5 straight years where he had 3 or more home runs.
He also threw bullets.
One and 2 to Bumgarner, who's just 3 for 28 at the plate this year. Here's McNeil.
Well, Crawford could have gone on the inside of the bag and taken him out, but I think it's become kind of a tea party out there now with the new rules.
Crumpets included?
Tea and crumpets.
By the way, Bumgarner has 1 home run against DeGrom in his career. These two have only matched up once, and neither one of them pitched well that day. I don't know if you remember this game 2 years ago in San Francisco when Justin Ruggiano for the Mets had a grand slam off Bumgarner.
Yes.
But DeGrom gave the lead right back, and Bumgarner hit a 2-run homer against him to put the Giants in front.
That's probably one of DeGrom's worst starts of his career.
8 runs, 13 hits in 5 innings. And he gets Bumgarner looking for his 3rd strikeout of the day. So the double play helps out DeGrom through a scoreless 2nd. No score at Citi Field. Last postseason game the Mets played, a great pitcher's duel between Noah Syndergaard and Madison Bumgarner. Noah went 7, Bumgarner went 9. Connor Gillespie was the villain, and the Giants moved on.
Was that Eric Campbell in one of the shots?
Yes, sure was. He and T.J. Rivera were both in the starting lineup for the Mets that day. Todd Frazier's got good numbers against Bumgarner. 5 for 12 with a home run. And he pops one up into shallow center. Who's going to get this? Panic and Crawford both looking for it, and Crawford makes the play for the first out.
Panic didn't want any part of that ball. Crawford bailed him out.
This is not an easy day with the sun and the wind. Every time a ball goes in the air, it's certainly going to produce a little bit of agita.
There's no team more well suited for that, though, you think, than the Giants.
Well, maybe not as much as when they played a candlestick back in the day. Not quite as windy at AT&T Park.
What an awful ballpark that was. Sorry, Keith.
And by contrast, what a brilliant engineering design in the new ballpark where we'll be next week.
Yes, it's a beautiful park.
Well, just the way they were able to cut down the wind. Hit hard by Bautista down the line off the tarp. It caroms right out to Slater, so Bautista's going to have to stop at first. A bullet off the bat of Bautista for the Mets' first hit of the day.
Bautista, who struggled against left-handers in the orange and blue, hits a rocket down the line.
Home run last night. Another hard hit ball his first time up today. Looks like Bautista may be fighting his way out of a slump.
And he struggled against lefties too, so that's nice to see.
He was hitting 162 against left-handers coming into the day. Well, so here's Jeff McNeil. 5 straight multiple hit starts for McNeil. Longest string for a Mets rookie since Jose Reyes in 2003. He had a string of 8 straight hits stopped last night. That's the longest stretch ever by a Mets rookie. And getting the start against the lefty today. He's 4 for 11 so far against left-handed pitching. And he hits a rocket to right field, but right at McCutchen, who has it. McCutchen was shading him toward the line. And in the right spot for McNeil, 2 out.
We talked about shifting in the infield a lot yesterday. That was really a shift to pull by McCutchen. Look at McNeil's like, how could he be there?
Come on, it happens.
Never played me there in Vegas.
8 guys out there. Hit them where they ain't. It's a big hang with them.
Thank you, Wee Willie. Now Devin Mesoraco, 0 for 5 in this series. Kevin Plawecki started the last 2 games after Mesoraco caught the 13-inning game on Monday. And he takes the curveball outside for ball 1. Just the 15th start of the year for Bumgarner. Didn't make his first till the 5th of June. Here's the Ron Darling amazing fact on today's game.
What?
DeGrom and Bumgarner. Who's older?
It's Mr. DeGrom. Hard to believe, right?
DeGrom is 30. Bumgarner's 29. Bumgarner's won 108 big league games. Of course, he came up when he was 20, and DeGrom came up when he was
24.
almost 26.
26?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
College man, you know. Bumgarner drafted out of high school in North Carolina. 10th overall pick in 2007. And he was in the big leagues by the time he was 20.
16 appearances in the postseason, 14 of them starts, 8-3 with an ERA in the low 2s.
2.11, which is great. Out to left center, and over comes Duggar. But how about his World Series ERA? 0.25. 0.25 in the World Series.
Not worthy.
Best ever. and features such as the MLB.TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcasts, stats, news, and more. Download MLB at Bat today. Nice day for a ferry ride. Huh?
Staten Island ferry.
It's free.
Yes, it is.
There's Kurt's office. Kurt's got the panoramic view.
How can you tell which one is his?
I've been up there, I can tell.
No score as we start the third. Steve Duggar hitting ninth in the order today. Hit leadoff last night. 0 for 7 in this series for the rookie center fielder. And he takes a first pitch curve for ball one. While DeGrom toils here, Scherzer and Nola go head to head in Washington. They are also scoreless in the third. Nationals will be coming here after that game today. He'll be here tomorrow night with a red hot Bryce Harper hitting .370 in August.
Well, it's been since he won the home run derby in the All-Star game. He's just.
But even more so since they didn't trade him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He just needed his dad to throw BP to him. That's all.
Well, sure enough, after the Nationals traded Murphy and Adams away, they've won their first 2 games since then. I mean, you kind of figured they would, right?
Yeah.
That bounce when everybody says you're giving up. Nice ball 4 and a leadoff walk to the number 9 hitter. So DeGrom still not looking like he's on top of his game. Well, they're the Nats, who are actually a game over 500 now after winning last night on a walk-off homer by Ryan Zimmerman. One that required replay review to count. Let's see the numbers on Harper. And they'll have Gio Gonzalez pitching tomorrow night. He's been miserable of late, but he'll be coming to his favorite venue.
Yes, he will.
Here's Andrew McCutchen, and he takes low for ball 1. And DeGrom looking perturbed.
Zimmerman with that walk-off home run against the Phillies. Only 3 people have done it. Zimmerman, Ralph Kiner, and Stan the Man Musial against the Phillies.
And he's got 11 walk-off home runs in his career, 2 shy of Jim Thome's all-time record. I didn't realize he hadn't had one since 2015.
Is that against the Mets? Because he had a walk-off home run against the Mets in 2015. That one to right center.
DeGrom after a leadoff walk behind McCutchen 2-0. And he finds the corner with a slider, and it's 2-1. Something is just not right.
He just doesn't like his fastball, so he's trying to pitch with his breaking stuff until he feels it again, but not throwing enough strikes.
There goes Duggar, swung and missed. Throw by Mesoraco is high, and Duggar gets in safely with his 5th stolen base.
And this was a hanging slider right down the middle. And the stolen bases. The beat goes on.
It's the 12th against DeGrom this year in 20 tries. So a runner in scoring position with nobody out. 2-2 to McCutchen. And he pops one foul back this way. Didn't quite get here, Keith.
Upper tank.
But
got above it.
But all it needed was a little bit of a curl there.
We're never going to get one up there.
10 years in waiting.
It's going to become like the no-hitter in Met history.
Now, hit it here. Hit it here. Rosario shading the runner at second so he can't get too far away. And McCutchen takes one inside. Full count.
Changeup that got away from DeGrom.
Well, that is already 4 3-ball counts through the first 10 batters for DeGrom, and you're just not used to seeing that.
In this at bat, he has not thrown one fastball to McCutchen.
Joe Panik on deck. And McCutcheon goes down swinging. Got him with a changeup. Fourth strikeout for DeGrom, and that's the first out of the inning.
Boy, he made him look bad on that one. Completely fooled.
Kept waiting for the fastball that never came.
Never came.
If you're not in love with your fastball in particular on a given day, can throwing your changeup get you there?
I never thought that. I always thought even if you don't like your fastball, you still have to throw it because it sets up your other pitches. Even if you can't control it, you know, you can use it around the strike zone.
First pitch fastball to Panic for a strike. Clearly the velocity's down in his fastball. He's throwing 95 right now, not the 97 he was throwing earlier.
And that's usually 40 to 20, or it's not so close between the balls and the strikes.
Panic had a base hit to left center his first time up. And a check swing foul. 0-2. Well, normally he's nearly 70% strikes.
Well, you couple it. It's 70% strikes, but he gets a lot of swings outside of the strike zone. So
and they all count.
They all count.
Ahead on Panic 0-2. That's up and away. The Giants in this series now are 3 for 26 with runners in scoring position. They have had offensive issues. They scored just 19 runs in their last 8 games. It's been a very disappointing stretch for the Giants, who stood pat at the trading deadline figuring they were still in it, but they have over the last couple of weeks fallen out of it. 1-2 coming. Tap to short. Runner will advance. Rosario gets Panic as Duggar moves to third. 2 out. The Diamondbacks and the Rockies are pulling away from the field in the West. The Dodgers have fallen 4.5 back, and the Giants now a season high 9.5 out and just about done.
Yeah.
Also 8.5 back in the wild card.
Colorado coming on strong.
And do you see who is in uniform and in the lineup today for the Colorado Rockies for the first time since 2008? Matt Holliday. They signed him. He hit great in AAA.
Right.
And he is now the left fielder today for the Colorado Rockies.
Oh.
That ball gets away from Mesoraco, and that's going to bring in the run.
Oh my goodness.
Don't know what happened there.
He's saying it's a foul tip.
That's what Mesoraco thought. The home plate umpire Tony Randazzo differed, and it's not a reviewable call. It's a ball Mesoraco didn't catch. Did Duggar make contact? Mickey Callaway saying wait, and the crew chief Brian O'Nora saying there's nothing to wait for. It's not a reviewable play.
Wow. He's going to go out there cap in hand here.
There's really I mean, he can ask the umpires to confer, but they cannot review this play according to the rules.
Well, that side view looked like there was no foul tip.
Well, the umpires will hear, you know, they'll hear the foul tip. That's what they go by.
What can we see here? Let's see. Didn't look like he made contact. So it's a pass ball to bring in the first run of this game. And now a strike to Longoria, and it's 0-2. I mean,
well, there's a case right there for putting the ball in play, Gary. And all the guys that say we don't care about strikeouts, the ground ball to shortstop, advance the runner, set up a pass ball to score a run.
Longoria down on strikes, but a walk, a stolen base, a ground out, and a pass ball combined for an unearned run against DeGrom. 1-0 Giants in the third. Devin Mesoraco, that pass ball, not happy with himself or the home plate umpire for not seeing what he thought was a foul ball.
Well, he's definitely angry at himself.
Michael Conforto leads off the home third against Bumgarner and fouls one away. If you will remember, 2 years ago, Michael Conforto got off to an unbelievable start in April. He had 365 in April. On May the 1st, Madison Bumgarner pitched against the Mets here at Citi Field.
Yes.
And Conforto had been sitting against lefties for the most part to that point, and Terry Collins put him in the lineup that day against Bumgarner, and Conforto went 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts, and his season basically plummeted from there.
Did he also put him third in the order?
Yes, he did. And you know, whether one game can set a guy in the wrong direction or not, but it was such a line of demarcation in Conforto's season, and before that year was over, he wound up in the minor leagues, and he hit under 200 from that point to the end of the year.
Remember that. And you know, you shouldn't get discouraged when someone has your lunch.
And Bumgarner strikes him out with a curveball, his first time up today.
I think, though, to put it in perspective, there was so much talk about we're not going to play him against left-handers. We're going to protect him. And today we're going to play him against Madison Bumgarner. And I mean, there was just so much. And then when he didn't have a good game, there was more on the line than a normal game against a lefty.
He did not come out of it. That's for sure.
Nope.
Good remembrance, Gare.
Oh, it was so memorable. And then, of course, you know, he turned it around last year and had a wonderful season. Went to the All-Star game, hit 27 home runs, and then, you know, this year's been a bit of a muddle for Michael.
It's all the learning process, and the only way you're going to learn is to have the experience on the field and in that batter's box.
Okay.
One and two to DeGrom, who has 6 hits, 3 RBIs this year. You see the last couple of starts for Bumgarner. The last one not a good one in Cincinnati. And he strikes out DeGrom with an extra slow curveball.
Lollipop curve.
Gave it a little extra flourish there.
Watch his motion if you're at the plate. This is what you get from Bumgarner. Staring you down. He looks away. You see the name and number on his jersey. And this is part of his deception. Big, wide arm span there before he lets it go.
He's such a huge man in every respect.
I mean, I don't know if you can even tell on TV, folks, but he is huge.
There's Rosario with 2 out. And takes a strike.
I always felt, and I said it before, he's a big version of Bob Knepper. It signed a sidearm delivery almost.
That's a good call with the arm action.
Yes. Yep. I mean, Bob Knepper, when he came up with the Giants, threw hard.
At the center field, and Duggar back astride to get it. So Bumgarner works a 1-2-3 bottom of the third after getting the lead. That's 30 straight scoreless innings from the Citi Field mound.
Wow.
What fond memories.
That's to dig deep, Gary, to get that view.
Celebrate Jacob deGrom's performance this season with a special 4 for $48 ticket offer and select seating locations for all remaining Mets home games. Tickets subject to availability. For tickets, visit Mets.com/deGrom.
Ron, did you do off-season cross country in the park, running?
I can't run anymore.
No. When you played.
Oh yes,
All season.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yep.
Belt breaks his bat, rolls it into the shift, and McNeil throws him out, one away.
Yeah, I used to run in that park all the time. Not during the season.
Well, you were taking a nap.
Well, I was reserving my strength, but I ran in the winter. Know what I used to do? I used to run at halftime in the football games. I'd do the short loop.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you run when it was really cold?
Yes, I used to put gloves on.
Can't stand running.
And once you get in the groove, Gary, and start sweating, you don't feel it.
Here's Austin Slater bluffing a bunt and taking one in the dirt.
And it's absolutely gorgeous. And then when the season was over, RJ, and you'd run through and the leaves would turn. It was just beautiful. Really spectacular.
It's like our version of the marathon, because you can't go 26 plus.
Not sure we could do a half.
I wouldn't take it any higher than the reservoir, though. I'll tell you that.
1-0 coming, and it's in for a strike, 1-1. Slater struck out his first time up. So deGrom was tagged with an unearned run in the last inning. The only run he gave up his previous start against the Phillies was an unearned run, and he gave up an unearned run the start before that against the Yankees. Changeup has him in front of Slater, 1-2. In all, 7 unearned runs against deGrom's record this year. 32 earned runs in 171 innings. ERA now under 1.7. Hit the other way, and Slater's got a base hit. He's had a very nice series. Yeah, an opposite field single in the game yesterday as well against Syndergaard, and a home run.
A little inside out. He just it wasn't an inside out. It's a pitch that right down the middle. As you see, it's a ball you can pull or go the other way, and he was going the other way.
So that's the third hit against deGrom. 1 out and 1 on. Now Brandon Crawford, who flared a single into center his first time up. And he pops one up. Playable for Frazier, shading his eyes as he goes.
Well, there is some sun over there.
2 out. So deGrom makes quick work of Crawford. 2 outs. Slater still at first, and Nick Hundley coming up. It's a very different Giants batting order when Buster Posey is not in it.
Not in it, and not 100% Buster.
I mean, watching Posey in this series, it's clear that he's just not able to use his lower half, and it's really affected him greatly. So the question is, what's he waiting for? If he needs the surgery,
yes,
wouldn't he rather have it sooner and be ready for spring training next year?
Or is it you don't want to say die, even you're 9.5 back, you're out of the division. I mean, that would be you got 3 teams ahead of you.
And they're 8.5 back in the wild card.
Yeah, with a bunch of teams.
They're done.
I would
pull the ripcord.
It's calling all doctors.
When Buster was at his best, you had to account for him if you're a pitcher in the lineup all the time.
He was a 340 hitter.
Yeah.
And with power.
And clutch.
He was clutch. And he was a line drive hitter. That's what I liked about him. He knew how to hit. Professional hitter. Good situational hitter.
Question on Buster's going to be, can they put him back behind the plate anymore? Or do they have to do what the Twins did with Joe Mauer and move him to first base? And if they do, then what do they do with Brandon Belt?
Belt has played some outfield, but his best position is first, of course.
I don't think you put Belt in the outfield.
I'm just saying he's played there.
I know, in that big ballpark in San Francisco.
They've talked about moving Belt also. They've talked about moving a lot of guys. I mean, again, they're an old. And DeGrom thought he had strike 3, but apparently Tony Randazzo didn't agree. The entire Met team was moving off the field, but Wayne's cousin said no.
That was inside corner,
up and in,
up in the strike zone. Could have called it.
Oh, that's a big time strike and just a blown call by Randazzo.
We're gonna have to get Wayne over here and have a chat.
I don't think Wayne's can do anything.
Changeup misses 2-2.
There they are.
There's your umpiring quartet. So DeGrom forced to throw at least a couple more pitches after that non-call. And Hundley takes it off the plate, and DeGrom getting really frustrated.
I think he let him affect him a tad.
Yep.
He's up to 70 pitches.
It's got to be difficult anytime you think your inning is over and it's not, to get refocused.
Yeah, now you got a runner going,
and he walked him. So after Randazzo missed the call on 1 and 2, DeGrom misses with the next 2 pitches to walk Hundley and keep the inning alive.
And you got a pitcher who can hit.
Third walk given up by DeGrom, and he's going to take a rather long stroll behind the mound before he faces Bumgarner.
Well, this is where, as a pitcher, you're fighting these frustrations, and you have to somehow get it out of your system and reboot and start over. Forget about what just happened. Some days are harder than others.
Well, there's also, he's getting to a pitch count issue now, right? 71 pitches in the 4th inning, which is not yet done. Certainly much more than he'd like. Bumgarner struck out looking his first time. He hits it hard, and that's a base hit, and that'll bring in a run. Slater is in to score. Hundley to third. He'll be held up there. It's an RBI double for Madison Bumgarner, and the Giants have a 2-0 lead. Bumgarner's first extra base hit of the season, his 3rd run batted in. And DeGrom is just beside himself.
Oh, what a difference one pitch can make.
Well, in the first at bat, Bumgarner saw 4 sliders. So I'm not saying he was sitting on it, but he got a bad slider up in the strike zone and didn't miss it.
Oh, we woofed him.
Yep.
Well, I'm sure that Randazzo knows that he missed the call.
He didn't. Randazzo handled it wonderfully. Didn't respond. But boy, I've never seen Jake give an umpire a piece of his mind.
He's had a couple of starts this year where you can see the frustration just boiling over. It's palpable, and today is one of those days.
Well, he's got a huge batter now in Duggar with 2nd and 3rd and 2 out. Already down in this game 2-0. Duggar walked and scored the first Giants run. And a quick 2-strike count. Those are the career numbers for Bumgarner, including those 17 home runs.
That's incredible, 17 home runs.
It's not even halfway to Wes Ferrell.
That's a good season. 517 ABs.
That's right.
0-2 to Duggar. Little flare, shallow left. Back goes Rosario to get it, and that retires the side. Well, DeGrom, bad call, costs him a run. Bumgarner drives in a run to give the Giants a 2-0 lead in the 4th. double. Now has himself a 2-0 lead. Meanwhile, between innings, Jacob deGrom, after that blown call by Tony Randazzo, clears the Gatorade cups.
Oh, I like the competitive spirit. I do. Well, I thought he was going to tidy up, pick up after himself there for a moment. I don't think so.
We've got people for that. 30 straight scoreless innings on this mound. Keep in mind the Mets are facing Gio Gonzalez tomorrow night, and he's been almost unbeatable on the Citi Field mound. It's quite a daily double of left-handers dominating the Mets on their home field. Two and 0 to Jackson leading off, and he bounces one foul. Well, these are the regular season numbers for these two left-handers. Look at that. I mean, Gio's obviously had more experience here being in division, and he needs it, man, because he's been awful lately.
Yeah. In his free agent year is Gio.
Well, so perhaps is Bumgarner. He does have an option for next year. That's a strike. I can't imagine the Giants wouldn't pick up his option, but his long contract comes to an end after this season.
He's been on the most friendly of team contracts considering what he's done.
Up our way to Jackson, and a full count. Second 3-ball count for Bumgarner, who's given up only one base runner through the first 3 innings. There was a single by Bautista. Flores and Frazier to follow. And Jackson strikes out on a fastball away. 4th strikeout for Bumgarner. Second time he's gotten Jackson. It's a change-up to reality dating as best friends scout social media to draft a perfect date. Don't miss an all-new episode of Prospects, presented by Bowmore Lanes, tonight at 6:30 p.m. right here on SNY.
What is that like? Fantasy football?
I mean,
you go through the roster?
I mean, get them a date already. Let's go. Been all season long.
Wilmer Flores flat out to center his first time up. 5 for 10 in this series. And he takes a curveball for a strike, and it's 1-1.
Every time now, Tony Randazzo calling a strike for Bumgarner. He's getting the boos from the Mets crowd.
So he's getting booed by deGrom, too. That's lined to the left, and Wilmer's got a base hit. Bumgarner got that curveball in the middle of the plate, and Wilmer has the Mets' second hit of the day.
Wilmer just really got on top of this ball. Bumgarner lucky he did not have that little lifto swing for a little launch angle. This is right there. I don't know why I brought that into the broadcast.
What's that?
Launch angle. Trying to stay away from that.
I think it's seeping into your brain, Keith. Osmosis is occurring. There's Todd Frazier, popped to short his first time up. Todd's driven in 12 runs in his last 13 games, going through his best stretch of the season.
To see Bumgarner now asking Randazzo, where was that pitch? So both pitchers getting heated.
Time to check out today's Spectrum high-speed pitch. I'd like to see the Mets record on the high-speed pitch competition. It's got to be like 700 winning percentage at least.
That's right. Lead the world in hard throwers.
Well, if that were the way you put up the standings, the Mets would be right where the Red Sox are.
Yeah.
Frazier pops one up into shallow right. McCutchen looking through the sunglasses. And that's the second out. 5 career starts, 5 career games, 4 career starts. 4-0 with a 0.25 ERA in the World Series, capped by Game 7 in 2014 when he came out of the bullpen to throw 5 scoreless innings for the save in a 1-run win.
21 innings pitched in that World Series.
I mean, that postseason in 2014, he was on the mound constantly. Or so it seemed.
Yeah.
Grounded toward the hole, and Crawford can't get it, and Bautista has his second hit of the day. So Bautista pulling Bumgarner twice, that time on the cutter. And the Mets have 2 men on.
Good effort by Crawford. And a nice little 2-out RBI as needed, and the Mets have their red-hot left-hand hitter McNeil up.
McNeil hit it hard his first time up, but McCutchen had him played perfectly, and McCutchen again playing toward that right field line and playing awfully shallow. Boy, there's a lot of gap in right center, isn't there? It's taken outside by McNeil, ball 1. I mean, Duggar's playing a step that way, but as shallow as they're playing. If he hits one to right center, it could roll. Flores at second, Bautista at first with 2 out. And McNeil drives that one into the glove of Panic to retire the side. 2 bullets off the bat of McNeil for 2 outs. And Bumgarner squirms out of trouble in the 4th. St. John's kid just tall enough to grab it. Still 2-0 Giants. Mazzaraco appeared to be developing some kind of neck issue. Take a look.
See, as he looks up there, he kind of reaches to his chest, and then the second time, watch, he grabs like he pinched a nerve or something wrong with his clavicle or something, and Plawecki is in.
5th inning, 2-0 San Francisco. Andrew McCutchen leads off and takes a strike from Jacob deGrom. So if you're keeping score, deGrom's given up 1 earned run in 4 innings. His ERA has gone up from 1.71 to 1.73. Meanwhile, Max Scherzer and Aaron Nola are going head to head in Washington, and there's no score there in the bottom of the 5th. The other 2 prime competitors for Cy Young. Let's take a look at Mesoraco at bat.
Oh, he's hurt. Oh, he's got a stiff neck.
Something.
It went to his neck. I bet you it's a stiff neck, and I'm not sure, but it looks.
Well, he grabbed at the side of his neck.
Yeah.
So he tried to fight his way through it. Clearly, it was too much and had to come out.
It's a little tough to hit with a stiff neck.
Now the question has to be asked: Who is the Mets' emergency catcher? McCutchen down on strikes for the third time. DeGrom's got his 6th of the afternoon. Well, there's the pitch selection, and you know, DeGrom for the season has thrown his fastball 52% of the time. Far less than that today.
Yeah, I got 28 fastballs, 47 off speed. So upside down today in his choice of pitches.
Here's Joe Panic, who's singled and grounded out, 1 for 2. And takes a first pitch curveball down. And that's the other thing about DeGrom. Normally when he throws that first pitch curveball, it's always a strike. He has missed with that first pitch curveball today.
And that was 83 miles an hour. It's off in velocity. It's just, it's an effort for him today. It's his first time in a while.
Well, he's had to fight through, but he just never gives in.
Reminds me of Game 5 of the NLDS. That's what it reminds me of, this game so far.
Gave up 2 runs in the first inning that day and somehow battled his way through. When did he go through 6, right?
6, yep.
Before Syndergaard pitched the 7th. One-two coming, and he bounces that curveball. Just looked annoyed at himself all day, and of course he had his annoyance at Tony Randazzo in the last inning as well. Evan Longoria waits on deck. 2-2 to Panic, and he bounces one on the right side for Flores. DeGrom covers, 2 out. So Jake's looking for his first 1-2-3 inning of the afternoon as he takes on Evan Longoria, and it would be a really good time for it now. 85 pitches working in the 5th inning. He'd like to at least get through 6. He's walked 3 today. That doesn't happen often. Longoria has walked and struck out today, 0 for 1. Well, those are career ERA numbers, and DeGrom only behind Tom Seaver on that list. It's awfully impressive. Whew. I mean, with Matlack and Kuzman and Doc, you're talking about pillars of the franchise.
Yeah, the Mount Rushmore of Mets pitchers.
Longoria fouls one back, and it's 1-2. One-two to Longoria, and he got him swinging. 97 for DeGrom as he gets that velocity back up for his 7th strikeout in the first 5 innings. Halfway through at Citi Field, 2-0 Giants. Home fifth inning, Kevin Plawecki just into the game. Takes a call strike. Plawecki started the last 2 games. He's 0 for 8 in this series. It'll be Plawecki, Conforto, and DeGrom due up for the Mets in the 5th against Bumgarner, who's now run his string of scoreless innings at Citi Field to 31. Plawecki drives one out to right. McCutchen moves back to grab it. 1 out. Mets have hit some balls hard against Bumgarner today, but to little effect. Mets third base coach Glenn Sherlock is away attending to family business. Ruben Amaro, who normally coaches first, is coaching third today. Tom Slater, the Mets assistant hitting coach, is coaching at first this afternoon. Sherlock expected back tomorrow. No traffic at third for Ruben yet. Here's Conforto, who struck out his first time up and takes the curveball out of the strike zone, ball 1. Fifth inning recap presented by Aetna, Better Health of New Jersey. Bumgarner just keeps on rolling from that Citi Field mound. DeGrom gave up an unearned run on a pass ball. He gave up a run that was spurred by a horrendous ball strike call that was driven in by Bumgarner, and that's the difference. Bumgarner is facing his 17th batter. Of the first 16, 9 have seen 2 pitches or less. So he's getting quick decisions. One-two coming, and the curveball in the dirt. 2-2. No ground ball outs yet for Bumgarner today. Everything either strikeouts or in the air. He's given up 3 hits, 2 to Bautista, 1 to Flores, and again some hard hit balls, but their StatCast AI powered by Amazon Web Services straight up on the defense against Conforto.
Oh boy, and there's a reverse right there. Even Bumgarner is hot at Randazzo, and he's hearing it from the third base dugout.
I thought it was down. Let's see. Nope.
No.
StatCast says it's there.
More borderline than the one he missed on DeGrom. 3-2 coming, and he struck him out with a curveball. So Bumgarner able to right the ship and get his 5th strikeout, and there are 2 out of the inning.
You know, he's really changing speeds on that breaking ball, taking a lot off.
It's a very effective pitch against a left-hander to get him out in front. You got to be a little careful with a right-hand hitter. You want to drop it on the back door. You don't want to get it over the middle or in. But you're right, Ron. It's a good weapon there.
Now DeGrom hits a ground ball right at the second baseman Panic, and Bumgarner's got himself a 1-2-3 bottom of the 5th. On we go to the 6th in this well-pitched game. 2-0 San Francisco. Beautiful day for hanging out on the Brooklyn Bridge, taking some photos.
Or gotta watch out for the bicyclists, though. Oh my.
Or a beautiful day at Citi Field.
Just wait till the scooters come to New York.
I've already seen them in the bike lanes because the delivery guys, and they about knock you over.
Yep, it's going to be a problem.
Huge problem.
It's worse. When we were in San Diego, they run them on the sidewalk.
Oh, it's
going to be a big problem.
Obnoxious too.
I already think that those bikes, the bikes are a problem. People come as tourists. They don't know the city. They're getting hurt.
Brandon Belt leading off in the 6th inning and takes a fastball high, 2-1. Belt's flied out and grounded out 0 for 2. That skips in, and DeGrom has yet another 3-ball count. Trying to figure it out on a day when clearly he is not at his best. And a 1-2-3 fifth with a couple of strikeouts, but now behind that Belt 3-1 to start the 6th, and he walked him. Second time he's walked the leadoff batter today, and his 4th walk overall. Let's check in with the studio. Doug Williams has a game break brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealer. Looked like an error to me. Turner normally puts that ball in his pocket.
Right.
Here's Austin Slater with a base hit his last time up. And he takes a slider for a strike. 22 straight starts, allowing 3 runs or fewer. He's allowed 2 today, 1 unearned. He's walked 4 today. That's a season high. Slater's base hit his last time up was to right field, and he carves that one down the right field side foul. 0-2. That was his last start against the Phillies. No walks in that game.
Ooh.
And that's against a very patient Phillies team that draws a ton of walks. Much more so than the Giants, who are a much less patient team.
That was like watching a pitcher in the 70s throw a gem.
Let's have warm-up action going behind him. Tyler Bachelor is up with DeGrom at 96 pitches. A ball and 2 strikes on Slater. Here's Bachelor, who was up but not in last night. Paul Sewald wound up finishing that game and getting his first major league save. One two to Slater, and he fouls back the high fastball, and that one only at 94.
That last game that DeGrom threw is one of the few games that I watched you guys as a fan. You know, a lot of times I watch it on a computer, skip everything, try to get through it, and just know what happened. But I just sat on my couch, no one was at my house, and I watched as a fan. It was a blast.
Did you watch Nola the night before?
I did.
He was pretty good,
yes.
Too. Were you lonely?
Was I lonely? No.
Are you lonely tonight?
The people that know me well know I sometimes do better by myself.
Again, the 1-2. And Slater goes down on strikes, 95 away from DeGrom for his 8th strikeout of the day. It's pretty good when you're having a bad day and you're giving up 1 earned run and you struck out 8.
Right. Well, he's pitching around his fastball, so he doesn't love it. So he's using his changeup and slider, and if he gets to 2 strikes, that's when he's adding a little extra.
So 1 out and 1 on. Now Brandon Crawford, who's 1 for 2, singled and fouled out. Giants have 4 hits. The Mets have 3. Mets have yet to scratch against Bumgarner, doing his usual thing at Citi Field. And DeGrom ties up Crawford inside, but he missed. 1-0. DeGrom made 25 starts coming into this game. Began the day with a 1.71 ERA and 204 strikeouts. It's only the 9th time that a pitcher had an ERA under 1.75 and over 200 Ks in his first 25 starts. And the names on the list, they're elite, as you might expect.
I have a question for you, Ron. I just thought of.
Okay.
I'm sure you had a start like this. You know, in your day, you know, you go longer. Say you struggled through it, and you just had a day like DeGrom's had, but maybe you go 8th. It doesn't matter to win or lose. What do you do when you go out and do your side? Do you do anything different in between for the next start?
But usually, when you're at a point where he's at, you just kick it away. I mean, that's gone. You know, when you go to do your side, that game is long gone, and you just go back to what you usually do in between starts. I call it like I don't know. I used to call them like a mulligan game. They happen every once in a while, so you just don't even pay attention to it.
DeGrom blows away Crawford for his 9th strikeout of the day. So the other 8 who had an ERA below 1.75 and 200 strikeouts in their first 25 starts: Sandy Koufax, Luis Tiant, Sam McDowell, Vida Blue, Pedro Martinez twice, Roger Clemens, Clayton Kershaw. That's the whole list, and now DeGrom, the 9th on that list.
Wow.
I mean, we're talking about some of the most dominating pitchers ever. And, you know, the reason why you don't have guys from further back is because there weren't as many strikeouts in the game.
That's right.
Koufax was the first. That was 1966. One and one to Nick Hundley, who's into a double play and walked. It was Hundley's at bat that so perturbed DeGrom. He had a 1-2 count through a pitch that was clearly a strike. It was called a ball by Tony Randazzo. Hundley walked, and Bumgarner followed with an RBI double to make it 2-0. DeGrom trying to make no mistake this time. Gets ahead 1-2 again on Hundley.
There's that high fastball that's been eluding him a lot of the game, most of the game.
Pitch number 108 upcoming. That's how many he threw in 9 innings in his last start. One-two. Struck him out. DeGrom strikes out 3 in a row after a leadoff walk. 10 strikeouts for the day. The 8th time this year he's reached double digits. Now the Mets will try and score for him. Down 2-0 in the 6th. innings. He finished with a flourish, 3 straight strikeouts, 10 for the day. And that's his pitching line on a day when he certainly was not at his best. He was still awfully good. 1 earned run in 6 innings. That'll keep his ERA at 1.71 or 1.706 if you're taking it out to the next digit. But that rounds up to 171. Top of the batting order for the Mets in the 6th. Rosario bounces one just foul. 0-1. Meanwhile, Bumgarner, 5 scoreless innings, 32 straight scoreless innings at Citi Field. Mets just can't figure out how to score against him. They need Justin Ruggiano in the lineup. Nice curveball to Rosario, and it's 0-2.
It's a curveball you're talking about, Keith. The right-hander, you got to keep it down.
Down and in, and that was not a strike. It's a big sweeper, so it's a good bait pitch. It looks good to hit, and it just sweeps right out of it. It breaks so much that it breaks out of the strike zone. Carlton had that big breaking ball. It's not a strike right there.
Extra grunt there by Bumgarner, but he hasn't been able to break 91 yet.
Yeah, average fastball velocity this year has been 91. He doesn't throw his fastball that much. It's 35% of the time.
There's got to be something, his motion is deceptive.
And Rosario goes down on strikes. He thought he had gotten a piece of that.
If he got a piece of it, it hit the dirt before it hit the glove of Hundley, I thought.
Well, for sure, if he foul tipped it, then
I think
looks like he did.
I did.
That ball changed direction.
Tony's having a tough day back there.
Again, that is not a reviewable call. 6 strikeouts now for Bumgarner. And here's Austin Jackson. Let's go to the Porsche Grill, and to Steve Gelbs' report today is brought to you by Porsche.
Gary, Austin Jackson 0 for 2 today, but his tenure with the Mets has been so much different and so much better than it was earlier this season with the Giants. And he attributes that all to just getting some regular playing time. When he was with the Giants, he started about 1/3 of the games that they played. He started all but 5 of the games that the Mets have played since coming over. And he said, sure, it helps just be in that rhythm, but beyond that, it allows you to play the game a different way. He said you're not worried about making many mistakes. You can play the game and take more risks, and it's a completely different mindset than when you're not playing every day, and you have to worry about when you're going to get your next shot.
Well, there's nothing like getting in a rhythm and starting to feel a little more confident about your game. Slow curve misses outside, 2-2.
You get to the age of 31, which is still a young man, but you've now been traveled around. You've been traded for and then released, and you start to feel, boy, is this coming to an end? I better figure this out.
8 teams in the last 5 years.
I know. And he's performed well for some.
He was certainly good last year for the Indians.
Yeah.
And Mickey Callaway saw that, and he's getting the benefit of that this year. Here's your Mets box score brought to you by DraftKings. Just 3 hits today, 2 of them for Bautista, 1 for Flores. Mets putting up their usual goose egg against Madison Bumgarner. By the way, we've talked a lot about Bumgarner's stats in this ballpark. The Mets have never beaten him anywhere.
Yeah.
He's 6-0 lifetime with a 1.47 ERA in 7 starts against the Mets, including a postseason start. And he's got himself a lead today.
All the way in the third base side of that rubber.
Seventh pitch coming to Jackson. And he fouls back Cutter.
The fact that he's on that third base side of the rubber, Ron, It almost looks when he strides, he's striding directly home because he's so far over. He might be a little off center towards the first base side.
Yeah, no, he throws across his body. I think that's part of the deception.
Yeah, he's a crossfire. Oh, definitely.
Well, that, and I would think the long arm action makes it especially difficult to pick up the ball, right?
There's a lag in his motion. So right when you expect the ball to start appearing as a hitter, it's just a little extra time before his arm comes through. Just no one else throws like him.
Pitch number 9 to Jackson, and he nubs that one back to Bumgarner. And there are 2 out. So that's 6 in a row retired by Bumgarner, and he's got 2 out in the 6th.
Well, this will be a tough mark. Yeah, look at that. Look at that step. So he's got to come all the way across his body. I mean, he's stepping over almost on the first base side of the rubber.
It's got to be a little unnerving to a pitcher who doesn't take a look at the strike zone at all.
Now Wilmer Flores, who had a base hit his last time up.
Well, I think Ryan Duran with the Coke bottle glasses would have been more, or Bob Veal with his glasses fogged up. I think that would be a little tough to deal with.
Who was the Japanese pitcher for the Red Sox who didn't even look at home plate when he pitched? Remember Ojima?
Yeah. He was like their 8th inning guy, right? 7th, 8th inning guy.
Straight down at the ground when he threw it home plate. That's got to be unnerving. Brad Penny used to look at third base.
Right.
Valenzuela looked to the sky.
Yep. Inside to Flores, 1-2.
That was intentional. Stand Wilmer up, and then he's going to go away with the changeup.
Three hopper for Crawford, and he throws out Flores, and Bumgarner's now retired 7 in a row. We're through 6 at Citi Field, 2-0. DeGrom and Madison Bumgarner locking horns at Citi Field. Pass ball brought in the game's first run. A missed umpire's call led to the second run and certainly steamed DeGrom. Been a frustrating day for the Mets. Some hard hit balls against Bumgarner, but no results. Bumgarner's thrown 33 straight scoreless innings from the Citi Field mound. Hot dog and a Knish. You got to try the Knishes. They're really good. Yeah. Tyler Bachelor will pitch the 7th inning for New York.
Well, Bachelor was on the mound in the first game of this series, of course, when looked like he had gotten out of trouble with the pop up to left field shortstop, and that's when the collision happened.
Bumgarner drove in the second San Francisco run with a double over the third base bag, his first extra base hit of the season. And he goes after the breaking ball from Bachelor 0-2. Meanwhile, in Washington, Odubel Herrera hit a 2-run homer in the top of the 7th off Max Scherzer to break that scoreless duel. Phillies 2, Nationals nothing, with Aaron Nola on the other side. Steve Duggar on deck, and then Andrew McCutchen in the 7th.
Philadelphia comes back and wins that NL East. Nola will get some MVP votes.
Well, they're struggling right now. The Phillies have lost 10 of 15. The Braves have opened up a 3-game lead. So they could really use a win today.
Well, at this point in the season, all the games are important now.
Yeah.
This is the stretch. This is the stretch run.
Braves will be in Miami tonight. Last night, Johnny Venters got the save in their win over the Pirates. His first save since 7 years ago to the day. What a great story Venters is. 3 Tommy John surgeries and another procedure that was like a half a Tommy John. I mean, it's amazing that he can still throw a baseball.
Right.
And to do it effectively at that level.
Doesn't throw as hard, but still has that great sinking life.
3-2 to Bumgarner. And he struck him out. Bumgarner took his home run cut and came up empty. Bachelor fans the first man to face him. We check in with Doug Williams in the studio for another game break. Doug? So Scherzer's ERA will go up a tad, 2 runs in 7 innings. We'll see about Nola. Here's Duggar, who walked, stole a base, and scored the first Giants run on a pass ball. And it's popped up third base side. Frazier over for a look, but it's out of play. And I'm wondering, going back to that pass ball, whether Mesoraco's neck problems played any role, right? We saw him at the plate early in the game. We showed him looking up for some foul pop-ups where the neck was bothering him.
Well, it's the left side of his neck that he grabbed for. So when you're reaching across your body to catch a fastball, certainly it would have some issue with it.
Mets have only said neck stiffness as a medical report on Mesoraco. And Duggar takes a big cut and comes up empty, and it's 0-2.
Duggar gets in the box. He reminds me of Steve Finley.
That's some high praise.
The way he's built. I don't know what kind of player he's going to be, but he looks a little bit like him.
Well, he's known for his defensive prowess, as Finley was early in his career. Of course, Finley became a pretty good home run hitter as well later in his career. There was one home run he couldn't quite rob, though.
Yes, he said he lost his footing.
Stepped in a hole. There was a little hole right in front of the outfield fence with a gate open.
That's right.
A little depression. And he stepped in the depression. And so when he jumped, he didn't go up over the fence. He went up into the fence. And Todd Pratt's home run sailed just over his glove.
Shea got him.
It was off Manti?
Matt Manti.
Yep.
Clinched the series. Popped up in foul ground. That'll go out of play. Tomorrow night, the Nats are here. We're on picks tomorrow. Our next SNY telecast will be Saturday. Game 2 of that series, a 4 o'clock start. We'll be with you at 3:30 with our pregame coverage. Zach Wheeler against Tanner Roark Saturday afternoon. There are the city probables for the series. Vargas tomorrow. He's been pitching much better lately. And Bachelor with back-to-back strikeouts as he takes care of Duggar with a curveball. 2 outs.
Well, that's one of the best breaking balls I've seen from Bachelor.
Yes, sir.
Gio Gonzalez has really been dreadful lately. But again, great at Citi Field.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that plays tomorrow. Mets have not seen Jeffrey Rodriguez. Here's McCutchen, who struck out 3 times against DeGrom. Happy to be facing somebody else. DeGrom fanned 10 in 6 innings. His 8th double-digit strikeout performance of the season and the 29th of his career. But he also walked a season-high 4 batters, which boosted his pitch count, which is what took him out after 6. Wound up at 108 pitches in 6 innings. So after winning 3 consecutive starts, DeGrom finds himself on the short end today. Two 2-0 to McCutchen. And the curveball breaks his bat. 1 hopper to short. And Rosario throws him out. A very strong inning for Tyler Bachelor. He sets him down 1-2-3 with a couple of strikeouts. Stretch time at Citi Field. Mets still looking to get something going against Bumgarner, down 2-0. Home 7th inning. Todd Frazier leads off against Madison Bumgarner. Once again impenetrable on the Citi Field mound. 6 scoreless innings today, 33 in a row, including his shutout performance in the wild card game 2 years ago. And his curveball wraps around the plate. It's 2-0 to Frazier with Bautista and McNeil to follow. Low pitch count for Bumgarner, who hasn't walked a batter today. He struck out 6. Frazier takes a cutter for a strike, 2-1. Bumgarner first learned that cutter from his minor league teammate Horacio Ramirez. Remember him?
Yeah.
His pitch for the Braves, left-hander. And he's been using it ever since to great effect. He gets the curveball in for a strike, 2-2.
When he gets behind in the count, he goes soft on you. He doesn't you know, try to challenge you and try to overpower you. He just threw a little lazy cutter and then a backdoor curveball.
Frazier drives one deep left field. Back goes Slater. Looking up. It's out of here. Todd Frazier gets the Mets on the board against Madison Bumgarner. Second home run in 2 days for Todd, his 14th of the year, and the Mets finally score against the Giants ace.
Well, they got back in the count with the lazy cutter and the curveball, and he tried to surprise Frazier in. Did not work.
Didn't get it in. And down.
So after Bumgarner had thrown 33 consecutive scoreless innings at Citi Field, Frazier puts an end to that. And that Mets home run means Citi will donate enough for No Kid Hungry to provide 20,000 meals to kids in need. Now Bautista, who's 2 for 2 today. And he takes the cutter inside. He's hit. And so the Mets get the tying run aboard with nobody out as Bautista tries to shake it off.
Just got it. Didn't get it in enough. Full extension of the arms.
So now Hundley and corner infielders out at the mound. Jeff McNeil is coming up, and McNeil's hit 2 bullets today. Both were caught, one to right and one to the second baseman. McNeil has been a huge puzzle for the Giants in this series. He's 7 for 11, and even his outs have been hard. Tying run at first with nobody out. And now that the Bumgarner dam has been broken, let's see if the Mets can
stampede
and sloshing through.
Then behind each of these 3 hitters.
See if he comes inside, Ron. He's hit the ball hard off the breaking ball twice.
Hit hard, base hit. Bautista pulls in at second, so McNeil finally gets a reward. His 3rd hard hit ball of the day. This one results in a base hit.
Well, this is an impressive day for Mr. McNeil. Tough left-hander from the sidearm. He's hit the ball hard 3 times, and it's just very impressive. This is definitely okay. We got to think about how we're going to pitch this guy.
Giants bullpen's going to get quickly to work now. Nobody had been throwing. But Bumgarner all of a sudden home run hit batsman, hard hit single. Tying run at second, go ahead run at first. Kevin Plawecki the batter, and he skips out of the way of the cutter for ball 1.
Then behind the 4th consecutive hitter.
Plawecki came in when Mesoraco left with neck stiffness. He lined out to right field in his only at bat. Reyes Maranta, who pitched on Monday in the 13-inning game, gets up in the Giants bullpen. Bautista at second, McNeil at first with nobody out. And Plawecki takes a rip and comes up empty, 1-1. Now the way that Frazier home run, only the 2nd Met home run ever against Madison Bumgarner. The other was the Justin Ruggiano grand slam in San Francisco 2 years ago. It's a small club. 2 members.
Intimate. Here mouth. Okay, that pitch. It means the one you called. I'm fine with.
In other words, no more signs.
Yeah, go back to it.
Cutter misses low and in. 2-1 to Plawecki. Michael Conforto on deck. Pitcher's spot behind him. So Lugo and Blevins both up in the bullpen. Boy, Jeff McNeil just continues to impress. 8 for 12 now in this series. With 3 bullets against Bumgarner today. Plawecki hits a double play ball right at Crawford. Panic with the turn, and a huge double play for Bumgarner. Bautista moves to third, but now there are 2 out of the inning.
Well, the pitcher's best friend.
So Bumgarner with a chance to get through the inning with the lead. Tying run at third, though, with 2 out. And here's Conforto, who has struck out twice today against Bumgarner. We'll say Reyes has moved out on deck. He'll pinch hit if Conforto keeps the inning going. And Michael takes fastball outside for ball 1. 2 strikeouts today for Conforto, 126 for the year. That's 7th most in the National League. And the curveball drops in for a strike, 1-1. He's drawn a lot of walks, struck out a lot. But he has 18 home runs, 6 of them against left-hand pitching. And he flies this one foul, 1-2. SNY Super Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. The best ones are the ones the catcher doesn't catch.
Wow.
Bumgarner about to throw his 90th pitch of the afternoon. 1-2 coming, and the curveball bounced slowly down to first, and that'll go foul. Fortunate roll for Conforto.
Belt tried to get there.
Bautista at third with 2 out. And Conforto fouls off the curveball.
I wonder what would happen right now if he threw a hard sinker, but he doesn't pitch that much inside the lefties.
He does not.
I'm kind of surprised because he's sidearm and you can have a natural hard sinker.
Fastball away. We'll try to surprise him.
And Conforto fouls it back. Like he was thinking about left field.
Be a nice story, wouldn't it? Conforto gets him after he was gotten by Bumgarner.
Lays off the curveball. Well, it would certainly erase some demons, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Well, Hundley is really a quality defensive catcher. He just knows what he's doing. There's no panic. Excellent fundamentals.
See if he throws that curveball that's a little slower.
And he wants it.
Takes a little more off it.
8th pitch of the at bat to Conforto. And he lays off another curve, and Hundley goes down again to get it. 3-2. Well, you got Reyes on deck to pinch hit. With the tying run at third and 2 out, Conforto has worked his way to a full count.
He's going to get another breaking ball.
Yes, he is. And this one's going to be thrown, maybe start behind him.
Oh, fastball in, Keith.
Oh.
The pitch you called.
3-2. Struck him out. Bumgarner gets Conforto for the 3rd time today. 7 strikeouts for Bumgarner. Frazier gets the Mets on the board, but the Mets lead the tying run at third. After 7, 2-1 San Francisco.
Ball, then he started to alternate, and it looked like at the time he was going to use just the breaking ball to try to retire Conforto. But Conforto did a great job of fouling off and taking some tough pitches. And once he got the 3-2, you thought it was going to be a breaking ball, or I did, and Bumgarner counters with the fastball, surprising Conforto.
I was waiting for that fastball in.
You were.
9-pitch marathon that Bumgarner survived. Now Joe Panic leads off in the 8th inning. McNeil sweeps it up. 1 out. Coming up tonight on Geico Sportsnet at 11 o'clock, all the baseball news. Get you ready for the Mets and Nationals tomorrow night. Jets and Giants news as well. Game in Washington's gone to the bottom of the 8th. Aaron Nola's still working on a shutout. 2-0 Phillies. Here's Evan Longoria, who's walked and struck out twice. And takes a knee-high fastball from Bachelor, who's looked very impressive today. 4 up and 4 down. The last Giants hit was the Madison Bumgarner double in the 4th inning that drove in the run that right now is the difference in this game. Bumgarner got to the plate because the home plate umpire Tony Randazzo made a bad call on Nick Hundley. Fly ball deep left for Longoria. That hits toward the stands, and that ball's gone. Evan Longoria with his 2nd home run of the series, his 14th of the year, and the Giants again have a 2-run lead. It's 3-1. So in what has been a very rough year for the former Ray, Longoria's had a nice series in New York.
Mr. Longoria likes the ball in. Nope. He turned on this one.
Just the 5th San Francisco hit, but they now lead 3-1. And now Brandon Belt is 0 for 2 and a walk. Quickly 0-2.
Brandon Belt reminds me a little bit of former Pirate Brave first baseman Sid Bream, that kind of same, although belt is a lot stronger.
Strikes out on the breaking ball. Third strikeout for Bachelor.
Did the fastball get in? A little bit of that plate, but still, it's very quick inside Longoria.
Now Austin Slater is 1 for 3, and he went around in the half swing on a ball that went to the backstop, and that's a strike.
Yeah, that was a complete, I'm guessing, first pitch fastball. I'm going to get it started, and then he got the breaking ball.
Slater's 1 for 3 at a base hit and scored a run in the 4th.
Ooh.
Giants have struck out 13 times in this game, 10 against DeGrom, 3 against Bachelor. But this has been about the limit for the Giants offense lately. They've been held to 3 runs or fewer 8 of their last 9 games. Slater takes a fastball up and away, 1-2. Brandon Crawford would be next. Nobody up in the Giants bullpen. Bumgarner's going to continue on after a rough 7th. 95 pitches through 7. Liner to left. On comes Conforto to grab it, and that retires the side. Longoria's home run, though, stretches the Giants' lead to 2 runs again. 3-1 San Francisco in the 8th. Working with a 3-1 lead. He's thrown only 95 pitches. Jose Reyes pinch hits leading off and takes a breaking ball for a strike. Reyes' last 2 at bats has a triple and a double. Doubled as a pinch hitter last night. Giants will keep the bullpen going behind Bumgarner here in the 8th. And Reyes hooks one foul. And it's 0-2. Rosario and Jackson to follow. So Bumgarner, before giving up the home run to Frazier in the 7th, had thrown 33 consecutive scoreless innings at Citi Field, 24 of those in the regular season. Now, if you include the postseason, the 33-inning streak is the longest since this ballpark opened. If you take it away, it ties for the 3rd longest streak. The longest Citi Field scoreless streak belongs to R.A. Dickey. He went 28 1/3 in his Cy Young year in 2012. You know who has the 2nd longest scoreless streak at Citi Field in the regular season? Seth Lugo, 25 innings. And then Santana had 24 and Bumgarner 24 if you only count the regular season. 33 if you count the postseason. Reyes goes down swinging. Bumgarner with 8 strikeouts, matching his season high. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Altice One. Enjoy the ultimate viewing experience with Altice One, only from Optimum. By Toyota, the national clearance event is going on now. Toyota, let's go places. And by National Car Rental, go national, go like a pro. Now Rosario, who's 0 for 3, 2 fly balls and a strikeout.
Bumgarner's high pitch count for the season is 112. His highest in a start against the Mets is 112.
He looks like a secretariat, you know.
Yeah.
Big, powerful machine who's never going to run out of gas.
That's right.
Check the arms. Wow. Looks like a condor.
Yep. He's gone 8 innings twice this year. Once against San Diego, once against Milwaukee. Trying to get 8 innings in today. Ground ball snag. Helps to be 6'5". 2 out.
And athletic.
Now, Keith, you talk about hitters all the time. Here's the defensive play he makes. Just gets it on the end of the glove with a little bit of a leap.
That's trouble, too. He's going to beat that out.
You talk about hitters all the time trying to keep their shoulders level.
Right.
I mean, no one does it better than Bumgarner as a pitcher.
Austin Jackson 0 for 3 today. 2 strikeouts and a comebacker. And he takes a cutter just off the plate. You see the pitch count for Bumgarner. Kept it very low through the first 5. Gave up his only run in the 7th. And the exertion of effort and the grunt. 1-1. The Silesian grunt. Reyes Maranta up in the bullpen. Tennis is just about to start. Backdoor curveball misses. 2-1. Mets are out of town for most of the U.S. Open. Get back just for the last few days.
Well, there'll be plenty of parking for the U.S. Open.
Drew Smith up in the Mets bullpen. Well, we showed you the Mets franchise ERA with DeGrom sitting second. Of course, Giants history is a little longer. Couldn't even tell you for sure who Jeff Tesreau was, but the other guys, they're all Hall of Famers.
Lord.
Do you know if Jeff Tesreau was?
I'm just all over Dave to get on it. I'm curious.
On the right side, Panic to his left, throws out Jackson, and Bumgarner is through 8 for the 3rd time this season. He's got a 3-1 lead, owning the Citi Field mound again. inning for New York.
Pitching yesterday's game, gave up a solo home run to Slater.
He'll face Brandon Crawford, Nick Hundley, and the pitcher's spot for the Giants in the 9th inning. Crawford 1 for 3 at a base hit back in the 2nd against Jacob deGrom, who is on the hook in this game. Jake worked 6 innings, allowed 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned, 4 walks. That's a season high. 10 strikeouts. His ERA stayed steady at 1.71. By the way, we have discovered Jeff Tesreau in Giants history.
Yes.
Their all-time ERA leader. Bounced on the left side. Rosario circles around it on the backhand, and a perfect throw to get Crawford. Beautiful play by Rosario. That is a difficult play coming from the middle of the diamond over toward the hole.
And a nice backhand. Ball came up for him.
Yeah, he retired a Gold Glover with a Gold Glove play.
Good throw on the run, too.
Anyway, Jeff Tesreau pitched only 7 seasons for the Giants from 1912 to 1918. 17-7, 1.96 in his rookie year. Led the league in ERA.
And that would have been around the time with Christy Mathewson.
Yeah, the Giants had a pretty good staff then. 1912, his rookie year, they finished 103 and 48. And Christie went 23 and 12 that year. They had Rube Marquardt on that same staff, another Hall of Famer. He won 26 games.
Who were their big boppers?
Well, I'll tell you, Keith.
Odd on that team?
Might as well. We're here.
Well, you had Larry Doyle hit 330 that year.
Okay.
Fred Merkle hit 309. That was, you know, a few years after his big mistake. Chief Myers, their catcher, at 358. Those were the big bats. Nobody hit more than 11 home runs. It was still the dead ball.
Right. One last question.
Sure.
Who was the manager?
Well, I'll tell you. Their manager was John McGraw.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Swing and a miss, and Drew Smith has a strikeout. He gets Hundley with the high fastball for the 2nd out. Let's see what's coming up on WB Mason Post Game Live. We check in with Gary Apple and Nelson Figueroa, guys. All right, guys. Drew Smith with 2 out and nobody on will face the pinch hitter Alan Hansen. Hansen started the first 2 games of this series. He's gone 1 for 9, and he takes a rip at a fastball. In the bottom of the 9th, the Mets will have 3, 4, and 5 in the order coming up. Flores, Frazier, Bautista, 3 right-hand batters. McNeil due up 4th in the inning, with the lefty Will Smith getting ready. He's been doing most of the closing the last 2 months. Hunter Strickland was closing, then broke his hand, and Smith took over the reins. They got the misters in the M&M seats.
Perfect day.
Why do you need misters?
No need. Have a toy. Got to use it.
I mean, misters are for when it's 110 with 17% humidity in Phoenix, right?
That's right. I think it's supposed to be a little hotter this weekend.
Good. We like it that way.
Nice. I'll be indoors this weekend trying to figure out the 3 circles in Tampa Bay.
Oh boy.
The rings.
Yeah. Swing and a miss. Strong inning for Drew Smith. He gets a 1-2-3 with a couple of strikeouts. Last licks for the Mets, down 3-1. Keith and Ron go on a cartoon adventure on an all-new episode of the SNY.TV digital series The Amazing Life, presented by Coca-Cola. Watch it now at SNY.TV/Coca-Cola. Today's starter brought to you by People's United Bank. DeGrom had kind of an up-and-down afternoon. His numbers wound up terrific, but Madison Bumgarner, as is generally the case when he faces the Mets, was almost untouchable, other than a Todd Frazier home run. SNY Super Slow Motion brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. One lefty out, the other lefty in. Will Smith will try and close for the Giants.
Now getting the save opportunity. Smith out of the bullpen. He was outstanding earlier in the series.
Wilmer Flores leads off and takes a fastball a little high for ball one. Wilmer 1 for 3 at a base hit back in the 4th. Will Smith missed all of last year and the first month of this year with Tommy John surgery, but he hit the ground running. And he looks to be back to his old form. Started out with Kansas City, then 2.5 years in Milwaukee. He hasn't gotten a call yet from Tony Randazzo, and he's behind 2-0. Frazier on deck, then Bautista. And Wilmer taking all the way, 2-1. That's a good idea, down by 2 runs in the 9th. And now 3-1.
Well, 2-run lead. You got to challenge a hitter here. Walk is a sin. Baseball sin.
Not a mortal sin.
No, it's just a baseball sin.
And the fastball, and he gets a generous call there. So Tony Randazzo is really having himself a rough afternoon. He's calling balls strikes and strikes balls.
I thought that was a strike. Let's see. Might be a little high. I think it got the outside corner.
No, that's
He gave him the. Here's a good view. Ronnie, you'd want that pitch.
I'd want it, but it's still a ball.
Wilmer got awfully animated.
I wanted everything.
And Wilmer shoots one toward the middle, but Panic is there to snag it. And Wilmer barks again at Randazzo as he walks away. Well, you rarely see Wilmer get that hot. Well, that's the first out of the last of the 9th. So 1 out now. Todd Frazier, who accounted for the only Met run with a home run against Bumgarner, and he takes a curveball for a strike. Frazier 1 for 7 in his career against Will Smith. And now 0-2.
Well, watch Wilmer. He couldn't wait to get on him.
That's on you.
A little more day game. Temper's flaring.
Well, Randazzo has taken his share today. Not uncalled for. Frazier lofts one to center, and Duggar's right there, and the Mets are down to their final out of the afternoon. Jose Bautista will try and keep him alive. He's been on base all 3 times today with 2 singles, and then he was hit in the knee by a pitch. Mets have the Nationals coming in tomorrow night. And a curveball in for a strike, 0-1. Nats and Phillies are in the bottom of the 9th. 2-0 Philadelphia. Aaron Nola out after 8 scoreless innings, so his ERA will go down. Scherzer's went up slightly. DeGrom stayed the same. And everybody got the job done. Nola went down to 2.13.
But more importantly for DeGrom is that Scherzer didn't get a W.
Scherzer also at 2.13, 2 runs in 7 innings today, so DeGrom still has a substantial lead in that ERA race.
There's a lot of starts left.
Yep.
All 3 guys, Scherzer, Nola, and DeGrom, know that.
2-2 now to Bautista. And the Mets are down to their final strike.
In today's game, that's 150 starts left, right?
McNeil hoping for another turn. 2-2 to Bautista. And it's low. And he works the count full. Trying to get on base any way he can ahead of McNeil, who's hit 3 bullets today. (3-2) and he walked him, and the Mets have life in the 9th. McNeil will come to the plate as the tying run. Bautista on base for the 4th straight time. McNeil 2 line drive outs and then a line drive single his last time up. 8 for 12 in this series. Belt will play behind Bautista at first. That run of no consequence. Guy that matters is in the batter's box. Curveball low and in for ball 1.
He's had 3 terrific at bats off a premier left-hander last night. Game winner late off a pretty good left-hand reliever in Tony Watson right down the left field line, a bullet. It was a game decider, put the Mets ahead. So he's been swinging against lefties well.
He's 5 for 14 against left-hand pitching. That's good. And he fouls one off Hundley and back. 1-1.
The first time I've seen him in some time. Looked like he was trying to lift that one out of here.
Yep.
Taking a shot.
He's hit 2 big league home runs through his first 96 at bats after hitting 19 in the minor leagues this year. And a half swing, he went around on the curveball out of the strike zone. And again, the Mets are down to their final strike.
Yeah, I think he swung there. Just kind of chased. Now he's got a battle.
1-2 to Jeff McNeil. And he tried to hold, and he went around, strike 3, and the ball game's over. Lance Barrett punches out McNeil. Smith saves it for Bumgarner, who continues to dominate the Mets. Mets not happy at all with the umpiring today. Jacob deGrom gets outdueled and suffers the loss as the Giants get a split with a 3-1 win.
Breaking ball, did he go? Not like the last one, but enough for Barrett to call it.
So Bumgarner goes to 7-0 lifetime against the Mets if you include the postseason. Mets finally scored against him at Citi Field on a Frazier home run, but not enough. As deGrom falls to 8-8, his ERA stays the same at 1.71. The game summary presented by Jeep. 4-game split between the Mets and the Giants. We'll come back with more from Citi Field in just a moment.